Hi everybody, Kevin Purcell for Notebooks.com, and I've got an interesting product. This is the Dell Chromebook 11. It is an 11.6 inch Chromebook, and what sets this apart from other Chromebooks is you can't really tell from the outside, but it's running an Intel Core i3 processor. That means it's going to be a lot faster than typical Chromebooks running an Intel Celeron processor. It's not the latest greatest, but it is a very recent model Haswell processor, which also results in not only speedy performance but all-day battery life. You can get typically about 8 to 10 hours of battery life depending on your usage. So we want to go ahead and show this off with you. Now let me go ahead and start by taking us around the edges of the Dell Chromebook 11. Here we get our power port connecting to a regular Dell brick, and then we get an HDMI out port. We have two USB 3.0 ports, and here's our audio jack that allows you to do both microphone and headphones. Looking at the back of the computer, of course there's nothing but the hinge. It has a very sturdy hinge, almost too sturdy. I like a notebook that you can lift with one hand, and you can't do that with this. Then over here on this side, you'll notice we have an SD card slot. I like the fact that it is a full-size SD card. This is just the dummy card that comes with it. Works just fine. I believe it will store up to 64 gigabyte SD card. And then we have a Kensington lock. Still put them on there for business use. A lot of people don't use them still. Of course, then over here on the front, we don't have anything. Looking at the top of it, it has the Chrome logo and, of course, the Dell logo. This is a very conservative looking computer in this gray format. It feels good. It's not the lightest 11-inch computer around, but it is still fairly thin. It's thicker than some, but when you get to this size and this weight, you know, most people aren't going to be too upset about something that maybe just a tiny bit heavier. It feels fine in a bag. I didn't have any issues with it. But some people might like something sleeker and thinner, and if you do, you'll probably end up paying more for it. Now, one thing you'll notice, it has a very spacious and comfortable to use keyboard. It's hard to see that on a camera like this, but in typing, I didn't have any issues with it. I like to check other reviews after I've written up my review just to see if I'm on track. And I've been surprised to find that a lot of other reviews are saying that they don't like this keyboard. I don't understand that. I think it's a great keyboard. I think that's one of the pros of this computer. Now, the trackpad on it is a little tiny, but for a computer this size, you can't expect anything bigger than that. It's responsive. It feels good when you use it. And, you know, unlike a lot of the machines that I use, I quickly want to put a mouse, connect a mouse to it. This one I didn't feel like I needed to do that right away. When you look at the screen, this is showing the screen at, notice it was at about 70 to 80% brightness. A lot of people will run their screens between 60 and 70. Here in this kind of room, we have a fairly bright overhead light and a window off to the right here. And in this kind of room, at this brightness, that screen works just fine. Some people may want to pump it up just a little bit to closer to about 75% to get true brightness. We don't have a very good width or viewing angle on this. You notice once you get to about this point, the reflection on it starts to get difficult to see the screen, and then when you get to that side, far to the side, it's nearly impossible to use this comfortably. Even jacking up the brightness all the way, you still really can't use it. And so you're not going to sit with this computer and have maybe 4 people, 2 on either side, flanking you as you show off a slideshow or watch a video or something like that. 2 people could sit and comfortably use it, maybe 3 if you absolutely had to, but the viewing angle is just not good enough. Also notice that it is a little bit dim. That's typical on Chromebooks. These are, you know, this is a $379 Chromebook, which is a little more expensive than some thanks to the Core i3 processor. It also has 4 gigabytes of RAM and a 16 gigabyte SSD. Those two numbers are typical to on the higher end. Some of them come with 2 gigabytes. This has 4, but that Core i3 is what bumps the price up, not the display. The display is pretty mediocre and probably the biggest weakness on this computer. Now, if you forced me to give this a buy or a don't buy, I would probably say that this is a buy for the right kind of person. Again, it's a smaller Chromebook, so you have to be satisfied with an 11-inch screen. The screen is not as good as it could be, so if you are really finicky about screens, you're not going to be interested in this. But for most people who are basically just needing a Chromebook to get on the internet, type some documents, maybe stream some video on Netflix or YouTube, and play some online casual games, this is going to be a decent machine. You can open up lots of tabs and it can handle it, and it's speedy. It runs faster than most Chromebooks. So here's who I would say this is really sort of tailored to. Dell creates it as the education Chromebook. That's the way they've been marketing their Chromebooks. So a school probably has, a number of the Celeron processor Chromebooks with the 2 gigabytes of RAM, and they need someone to manage them all and still use a Chromebook. And so probably the IT director or the teacher who's in charge of that or staff member in charge of that would get this one and work, all the time on it, needing something a little bit more powerful and a little bit faster. And so, they'd get one of these and then maybe 30 regular-sized Chromebooks for the classroom. Also, on the consumer side, people who have been using Chromebooks for a while and they'd like something a little more powerful but not incredibly more expensive. The Dell Chromebook is around $300. We said that you should probably go with the Acer C720 instead of the Dell Chromebook with the Intel processor because of the $100 price difference. But with the Intel Core i3 processor, it makes it worth the bump to $379. And so we would call this a buy for that kind of person, sort of the Chromebook enthusiast's Chromebook, or the business person or educational staff member who has to manage a number of Dell Chromebooks. This has been Kevin Purcell for Notebooks.com with the Dell Chromebook 11 with the Intel Core i3 processor, giving this a buy and a recommendation that we are happy to say, yeah, go out and get one. You'll like it. Thanks for watching.